Hello. Today we will solve three real interview questions. Will look simple at the surface but really challenging at their end. But intentionally expose the weak JavaScript fundamentals. We will build a real billing system, control async task step by step, and finally create Array.reduce from scratch. If you are planning for service-based machine round, this episode is a gold for you. Let's right jump in the coding section, make our hand dirty. So our first question is the business logic questions which we are targeting today is the electric billing system. So the problem is write down the problem quickly. Billing electric billing system where we provide a electric unit that is consumed and calculate the final bill on the given slab. So what is the slab? Slab is for 0 to 100. Charge will be 5 rupees per unit. Okay, from 100 to 200, 7 rupees per unit. Okay, and above 200, 10 rupees per unit, and there is a surcharge of 10% as well. So add 10% surcharge on total bill. Okay, this is the question. So just pause down and try to solve by yourself and jump back quickly. So I'm going to start. We provide something input like this. For example, I pass a unit of bill of 250 and it is calculate this unit by breaking into slabs and then return something like any of number as a result, including the 10% surcharge. Quite looking interesting, right? Jump into the coding part for create function calculate billing units. Okay, this is a function will take a billing as a unit. Now let's suppose initial amount is 0. So we create let, because you can let because we have to reassign some value. Initial amount is 0 or nothing. Take 0 at first glance. Now we have to break down into different 3 slabs. The first slab is of 100, less than 100. So if units is less than 100 or equal to 100, what you have to do? Just amount is equal to whatever unit into the it's 5 rupees per unit. Okay, for the first 100 unit. Now else if units is less than equal to 200, so what we need to do? Amount equal to, for the first 100, just multiply 100 unit by 5. Okay, and for the rest of the unit, what you have to do? So units, remove the first 100 unit and asterisk whatever left, just multiply this by 7. Okay, so in this way we get our first 100 price bucket and then rest of the price bucket which is less than 200. So in this way we get our second slab and the rest slab is above 200. So else what you need to do? Multiply the first slab by 5 and what equal to next for 100 asterisk 7 and then finally 200 asterisk whatever is multiplied this by 10, and finally we have to calculate the surcharge. So amount asterisk, which is 10%. So 10%, and finally return amount. Time to call the function. Ten. So you see, for the 80 which is less than 100, we get the price of bill of 400. For 150 we get a bill of 850, and for 250 we get a bill of 1700. So let's do a dry run. We got 80 over here. This fall in this bracket. 80 multiplied by 5. 8 5 is 40. 400. I did one mistake. Now amount plus surcharge. Okay. Now the 10% surcharge is also added over here. So total bill is 440. Done. So in this way we're done with our first example. So be careful while you are using the conditions to break into the slabs and the calculation part. Mostly this part. I know this is repeating kind of thing, but you can optimize this one as well. Now let's jump to the second question. Our next problem is related to sync behavior of JavaScript. So this example looks pretty simple, but it's a little bit more tricky and a little bit more logical at the surface. So let's see. The problem is execute async task. Execute async task sequentially without using async await. So how you will achieve this? We don't have to use any promise.race or promise.all. Okay. If there are multiple tasks, one task will execute after the first task is get finished. For example, if you have 3 tasks, the first task will get finished. After that, the second, and then third. No matter what is the delay. Function task could be anything. The function name could be anything. Sorry. Sync task. Get a array of task. Now here we create a chain. Chain of what? Promise. Initially we assign. Suppose it having a promise to resolve inside this one. Okay, resolving in the first go. Now we loop through the task. So for let task of task, and here what chain, in chain if chain get resolved, then return the execute a task and return, and assign this inside the chain. And finally return the chain. Okay. So far so good. Pretty simple. This looking very simple, but this holding a very good and sync logic inside it. So think, pause this one and think how this is working behind. Do try it in your mind, okay? Now, we make some dummy task. So this will get an ID kind of and delay, and this will return a task which holding a promise. Simple to demonstrate a promise task. Resolve the ID log console.log resolved and console the ID, and here finally pass the delay. Now we create our promise task. You also have a T, grab a T and then code along. It's very good experience. Now call this. Now let's make a task array, okay? Task. Suppose we have, and please mind the sequence. In which sequence and what delay I am passing over here. So my task, so first one and delay is 1500, 2 delay is 500, delay is 1000. So according to the normal loop, first execution will be done by 2, then 5, and then 15, right? Let me show you. Suppose it's not calling, it's direct returning a promise. Sorry. You see the sequence? First task number 2 get resolved, then 3, and then 1. Okay, you go grab it, you get the sequence, the default sequence according to the timer when they are getting resolved one after another. But I want to trigger this in a sequence. First 1 will get completed, then 2, and then 3. Doesn't matter when they are getting resolved, okay, or settled, whatever. So just make it into a function to call after over here. Now call the function sync task and pass the task. Now you see first resolves, then second, and then third, and this is the sequence to make a async task in a sync without using promise.all or promise.race. So in this way you can make a async call in a sync way. Pretty clear? Okay, so don't forget to return this task here. If you don't return, this will execute in parallel and they will not get assigned in the chain. So look what will happen. Remove this one. It's like before. So there are 2 or 3 pitfalls. You have to focus very carefully. So we are done with our second question. Now time to move to our final question, which is about the polyfill. And today we are going to solve very interesting, very asked questions by many of the service-based IT companies these days, and which is polyfill of reduce. Okay, so let's come here. The problem is so let's start jump into the coding part. You have to make a polyfill. So for the polyfill prototype dot we'll make this on a prototype dot reduce. Okay, now you assign a function. What function will take a callback and a initial value if you provide. Now const just grab the array which is this to mitigate the confusion. What is this? What is this? It's just an array on which we are applying the reduce method. Okay, sometimes saying method, sometimes saying function, so keep this in mind. Now it has two things. First is we have to hold accumulator. Another is you have to check if we have the initial value. Means user provided the initial value, then if initial value not equal to undefined, then accumulator will be the initial value and index will start with 0. Else accumulator having the first index of the array if we don't provide the initial value. So and the start index will be the first index. Now time to run the loop on the array. Okay, I is equal to start index, whatever the logic, whatever the condition is fulfilled, length I plus plus. What the accumulator will be? So callback function. The callback function we pass the accumulator first, then we pass the next number in the sequence in the array index and the array itself, and finally return the accumulator. Now let's check this custom MapReducer method is working as expected or not. Simply make console.log make an array 1 2 3 4 dot MyReduce. Grab the element, next number in the sequence, and asterisk n. Look, we get the number 24, and let's check this is working correctly or not. Copy this one, look, both results are same. So in this way we have created our polyfill for reduce. So you can think a variation of map filter. I already created the polyfill for maps and filter as well. That's wrap up episode 7 of our JavaScript machine coding round series. If video helps you somehow, just give it a like, subscribe and comment. Episode 8 is coming with even more thorough, interview questions. So don't forget to subscribe. Till then, keep coding, keep growing. Bye bye.